Hey, welcome to another very exciting episode of the Real Deal podcast. New week and a lot of great guests coming up this week as well. So let's go. All right, welcome to another great episode again of the Real Deal podcast. New week. I'm your host as always, Courtney Hollmon. Glad to be back with another, like I said, another great guest that is lined up on the show. You can follow the show before I bring her on. You can find the show on all podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple. We're on YouTube, BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com, Spreaker. Also, you can find it on, like I said, on the Roku channel, BS3 Network. Download the Roku app there and download the app, and you can find it on the Roku channel there as well. And you can find me on all podcast platforms at Get the Real Deal on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. So yeah, wherever you consume podcasts, you can get it there as well. So let me bring in my guest. I'm excited to have her on. She goes by the same name as me, so this is going to be a special one. So Courtney Hollmon, sports broadcaster, broadcast journalist, journalism major at the University of South Carolina as well. She does a little bit of everything. So we're going to get into all the things she has done with sports and business and all those things. So Courtney, welcome to the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. How's everything going? I know you're staying busy. I see all the content that you do on a lot of different things. So, but how's everything? Thank you for taking the time to be on the show.
Yeah, no, everything's been going good. About like a week out from graduation, so
yeah,
just trying to do that.
Congrats on that as well. Yes, like you said, broadcast journalism major at the University of South Carolina. So congratulations. I know that was a lot of work and a lot of hard work. So I'm sure you're glad that it's, like I said, a week into graduation. So yes, it is graduation season. So congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll get into your intro. We'll get into your background a little bit, but talk about that journey, how that's been and how it feels to, like I said, be a week from graduating.
I don't think it's hit me yet. And I think I've been telling people all the time, I can't fully enjoy it right now because all of like teachers want like the projects and the 7 to 8 page papers due.
Oh, yes.
So I gotta, once that's out the way, I feel like then I can really soak it in. But right now it hasn't hit me yet. Like I have not done anything to prepare for graduation whatsoever. Like, yeah, no maintenance at all to prepare for graduation. Like my hair's still not done. Like just none of that.
But and it's here, like you said, like graduation season is here. April, May, June is usually the time, and it's funny that you said it's like you like it hasn't hit you yet, but
yeah, it has not hit me at
all. But I'm sure by next week you're thinking, wow, I'm actually finished. I'm actually done. So, but congratulations, like you said, and the hard work is paying off, and now it's to the next journey and the next thing. So I will get into what's next in a little bit, but I want to get a chance to know you a little. Let my audience know. So, first question I always ask: who is Courtney Hollmon, and what got you into sports broadcasting and the love of sports and the journalism side of it?
Who is Courtney Hollmon? Well, I'll say Courtney Hollmon, she's a little bit of an unorthodox person.
Okay.
I like all things. I'm like I don't like to call myself a jack of all trades, but I guess I kind of am sort of like my music taste is all over the place. Like I like vinyl records in my free time, like Motown, all that stuff is like near and dear to my heart. So like if anybody gets in the car with me, they're not gonna hear like no Sexy Red or Glorilla. Like you're gonna hear like Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, stuff like that.
Yeah, good music, real good music.
Exactly. They don't make music like that no more, man.
No.
But I guess like what got me into sports broadcast. So I used to play. So I call myself a jack of all trades because when I was growing up in like middle school and high school, I did community theater, dance, and basketball all at the same time.
Okay.
Like I couldn't sit still. So like Monday through Friday, I'm bouncing between dance and basketball practice, and then on the weekends, I'm going to my community theater practice because we got a show coming up within the next couple of months.
Right,
So,
right.
I really fell in love with all of that. But of course, the higher you go in sports, the more demanding it gets. So
Yep.
I dropped dance because I really didn't see myself doing that anymore. I had done it for like 12 years already. I did baton for like 12 years. So I dropped dance. I was like, bye. Wasn't really that. But dance or basketball and theater was where I kind of had a little bit of a hard time letting go because I really liked both. So it really did crush my soul to have to let go of theater. I used to always like try, like if there was like just a little bit of space that I could do, like possibly do a show, like my mom will tell you, I was like, I just have to leave at this time. Exactly.
Right.
And she's like, Courtney, you can't do that. So I was like, oh, okay, fine. So yeah, theater sadly had to go, but basketball has just always been something I've participated in. My dad, he part-time referees, and he's been doing that since I was like born. And so I used to always go with him to like the basketball tournaments, like the Bojangles Class, the Chick-fil-A Classic. So like I saw Zion Williamson and Jalen Green play when they were in high school, just because they came to those basketball tournaments here, and I used to always call myself my dad's +1.
Okay, yeah.
And so we used to go to the Don Staley women's basketball, like their little Gamecock camps when I was growing up. And so as I came to graduate high school, I was like, well, what do I want to do? Like, what do I want to do as a major? That, I can still kind of like, I want to have a job that I like. I want to have like a major that I like, that I really enjoyed. So I was like, what can I do that can like incorporate sports? And that's why I got introduced to broadcast journalism, because I still wanted, like, I feel like you still have to have that theater personality.
Right.
And I like sports and I like talking about sports. So I was like, you know what? Sports broadcasting.
Okay. And there it is.
How it came to be.
All right. No, I like that. And I love hearing everyone's journey, because everyone's different. How they got into where they want to be or where they are. And I feel like you said, with theater, dance, and now sports broadcasting, especially for theater, I'm sure that your theater background, as you said, has definitely coincided with what you like to do now is in the broadcast. Talk about how much that has helped you where you are today, as you said, your theater background into broadcasting, because I mean it's different, but it's almost like you love, you said love to it's a performance, things like that, and even broadcast, you got to perform, you have to some type of performance. So talk about how that correlation of theater and broadcasting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, theater is public speaking, and so is broadcasting. Like you have to be able to say your lines out loud in front of an audience, no matter how big, how small. You have to project. They tell you all the time in theater to project your voice, because like you may be a character that doesn't get a mic. So you have to project your voice. You have to make sure your words are clear. And that's the same thing in broadcasting. Like whether you're broadcasting to a bunch of people or you're broadcasting to like a short group of people, like you have to project, you have to have a personality. Like people want to watch a personality on stage. You need to be entertaining. And you just need to not necessarily perform in the way that you do with theater for broadcasting, but you just have to have like some sort of personality, like I just said. So that's really helped me, just kind of like, because I was never shy as a kid, and my mom and my dad will tell you, I was always like, like put the camera on me. I was always camera obsessed. I was never shy.
You're ready. You was always ready. Yeah.
I was never shy, but with theater, theater helped me transition. I would say once I realized broadcasting and sports broadcasting is what I want to do, it helped me just to transition and just kind of like connect with people and like talk to people face to face, and not be afraid to talk to people, if that makes sense. Like not be afraid to showcase kind of like a personality, or like, like little traits here and there, like little humor things or whatever when I'm broadcasting. So
I like that. And yeah, that's It's like you said, it's more public speaking than just performing. And yes, we do. There are people in media that do perform and that do have that trait of performing, but it is more public speaking than just performance. Besides, theater is performing and public speaking as well. But no, I think it's interesting how it has transitioned you into the broadcast space and talk about what's are some of your favorite things that you like about sports broadcasting and journalism as you continue to learn and grow.
Yeah. I like the atmosphere for one. Like
Mm-hmm.
I really found that I like there's nothing like a sports atmosphere. Like the
Mm-hmm.
adrenaline you get when you're like near the game, like you hear the
Yeah.
stands, you hear like the MC, the PA announcer, you hear
Yep.
like if you're at a basketball court, you hear the squeaks of the shoes, or like all the people
Mm-hmm.
get like riled up, or if you're at a football game, you hear like the whistle. Like it's something about like the atmosphere. It just I don't know, it just gives me like a rush every time. So I would
Yeah.
say that's one of the main things that I like, and then also just like connecting with people and hearing their
Yeah.
stories. Um, that's something I found that I really like to do. Like whether doesn't matter who I'm interviewing, I always kind of like take the time to just kind of try to connect with them. So like if I like research who I'm interviewing before,
Yeah.
just find things that we may have in common. Like if like I find something on TikTok about somebody likes a type of music, and I'm like, oh, you know this song, and then right off the bat, like we have something to talk about, and then
Right.
it just doesn't feel awkward. Like it doesn't feel like I'm asking you questions trying to get information. It just feels
Yeah.
talking at that point. Like we're just kind of picking up from a conversation, and it just the conversation just happens to be filmed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, oh yeah, it definitely does. I can totally relate with that. With researching and in the storytelling, I think I love that too. I love that part of it. Just seeing, okay, whoever you're interviewing, whoever you're connecting with, you look at if they did something like they went on vacation somewhere, or they you say connect with music, and you ask them about something like that. I think that's interesting. And just to go back to, I want to go back to the music thing. We were just talking about that. We could have did a whole podcast on just that, just the bad music that a lot of, I would say all, but there's a lot. It's not as good as it used to be back in the day. You said you did your love for Motown and like I said, the Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonders, and that genre of music. You said that came from just just growing up and things like that. Talk about that love of that, like the music. I want to get into a little bit of that. Your love for the
Yeah.
music, different
Um,
music.
well, that definitely came from growing up, like
Yeah.
riding with my mom and all that, listening to like the Steve Harvey morning show or the Ricky
Mm,
Smiley morning show.
okay.
Um, just yeah, just those songs that they always play on those shows, on those stations, like the R&B and all that.
Yeah.
And then once I got older, I mean, that's the music that I was used to listening to. Now, of
Mm,
course, I like, grew up and had my own taste. Like I was a Justin Bieber fan, huge.
okay. Yeah.
I was a group called Mindless Behavior. I was a huge fan. Of course, I like grew up and had my own taste. Like when I like grew up and got into the music and stuff,
Yeah.
that music that I listened to with my mom and like her siblings and my dad, like James Brown, like somebody my dad like banged all the time. That still that
Yeah.
still was like kind of ingrained in me. So of course I would
Yeah.
like when I got my iPod, I would look up like James Brown or Michael Jackson and like put those songs in my
Yep.
little album and stuff. But then when COVID came around, there's no sports, there's nothing to do. I
Yeah.
was like, what can I do? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start a record collection. And so I used
Mm-hmm.
to work at Chick-fil-A, and I would take a little bit of my paycheck, like $20 or so, and I would always buy a record. And
Mm-hmm.
my record collection started stacking up, so I started getting like DeBarge, and then like Ella Fitzgerald and
Mm-hmm.
Elvis Presley, and like I just it's been it keeps going.
Oh no, I like I said again, I know, like growing up, you talked about like the records and just having my mom used to always, she had the record player and was playing, did the Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonders, the Whitney Houstons, the
Yep.
from just back in the day. And I think that kind of, like you said, that ingrains in us that love of music. It just ingrains in us, and even like you said, listening to it now, it's that type of music, just it stood the test of time. You could go back and listen to all that music. You could see how some of the music has been influenced to, at least least the 90s and early 2000s, especially. I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. The music, and you can just tell how that much, and plus a lot of things have gotten they've used the music as well.
I was 100%. Like SZA just sampled, like I think
The samples
not Marvin Gaye, Luther Vandross song.
Yes.
And
So
the
samples and everything too of so you could tell the influence of music, how it has, how that type, those type back in the day has influenced what it is today, and everything too. So yeah, it's tremendous. Like I said, we could have did a whole podcast on just the music and the changes over time and all that. Maybe when you come back on again, you will be on again. You come back on again, we'll talk music and everything too. So for sure. I always say your podcast family, you come on more than once. So you'll definitely have to come back. I would love to have you back on again. So you talked about a little bit of your favorites in what's in broadcasting. You've done quite a bit of things too, like you NBA All-Star Game and other things. Talk about some of the things you've done over your career so far. Some of your favorite things in that.
So I would say I can't necessarily talk about what I've specifically done in terms of All-Star Weekend without going back to my internship at ESPN, which
was
last summer, and it was a stage manager internship. So what I basically directed the sets of SportsCenter, NFL Live, NFL Live, First Take, things like that. And so I was working like with the directors of the shows, the producers, working with the talent, like the camera crew. So making sure like counting in and out of commercial breaks, making sure the anchors knew, okay, once this commercial break is over, you need to be at this spot because you're interviewing Adam Schefter or something like that. Like I was kind of like the person that was guiding the show. So if somebody was out of place, whose fault was it?
But, so a lot of responsibilities there, right?
My little college student. It was my fault if the whole show's out of whack. So I got that internship last summer, just applying on a whim. One of the professors here sent out a list of ESPN internships. And I was just looking. I mean, I knew I was like, I want to be on air. These are all behind the scenes. But I was like, you know what? It's ESPN. It's Bristol. It's their headquarters. Who am I to not,
Right.
So applied, got it, spent the entire summer up there. So from like May to August, or June to August. And so when I was up there, I just really took advantage of being up there. I like network, like you give me the company email, I'm gonna email people.
You gotta email them out. Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna email people in the company. Like I'm not gonna have the company email. It's not gonna say Courtney.Hollmon@ESPN.com and not like
not using it. Yeah.
Right. So I just totally took advantage of just being up there in Connecticut at their headquarters, and I just networked with a whole lot of people. Just people that I looked up to, people whose jobs I wanted to have potentially one day, and just kind of ask them for advice. And then there was one lady, my soror, Brandy Tate, who directs First Take, and she really took me under her wing. And Brandy's been at the company for like years. And so she knew a whole lot of people, not just at the ESPN office in Connecticut, but throughout the whole like company. So their Charlotte office, their New York office, their DC office. So she connected me with some people who worked at SEC Network in the Charlotte office, because that's close to where I'm at. And so from there, just that whole summer was just spent networking. And from there, I got to go to NABJ. And that was my first time attending NABJ. And just from being at NABJ, I stepped out of my comfort zone and participated in a workshop with TNT Sports, little producer reporter workshop where like they just give you something on the fly. You have to come up with a script on the fly, and you have to present an on-camera, like just on-camera little thing about what you just came up with, just totally on the fly, like 2-minute drill. We get live feedback from the team. So like Stephanie Reddy and all of them gave live feedback right then and there. And so just being there, networking with the people at TNT. Fast forward to October, I got invited to a Engage Summit with TNT Sports. And that's 12 students that they invited to come to the campus for 2 days in Atlanta. Whole intensive thing, networking, resume building workshops, touring the campus, all of that. Met my would-be supervisor of the fellowship that I participated in with them. And the rest is history. So from there, I did did NBA Cup, NHL Winter Classic, and NBA All-Star Weekend. My favorite thing doing that was probably NHL Winter Classic, I would say. And that's just because I didn't know two things about
Okay, yeah.
I was a total novice when it came to hockey. Like, I didn't know how many people were on the ice. Like, it was that bad. And so when they were like, so we want you to do NHL Winter Classic. And I said, oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I was like, let me just dive in. And so I just completely like immersed myself in hockey, like watched games, watched things about the teams that were going to be playing in the Winter Classic, the Blues and the Blackhawks. Just totally immersed myself in hockey and just kind of got a new skill set that I didn't even know I was capable of getting. And just being in that hockey environment is just totally different from like basketball and football. And so like it I don't know, it just made me feel like more excited because it was a whole new like atmosphere. It was a whole new game that I didn't even think twice about looking at. And so that's probably my favorite thing that I've done so far.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, it's that just shows that how much you're willing to learn, how much you're willing to say, okay, yes, I will do this, and I'm going to put in the work, I'm going to put in the research. And you said you didn't you said I didn't follow hockey, didn't like, or didn't, I mean,
I didn't even think about
didn't know how, didn't know anything. Like you said, they're just like, okay, I'm a novice to it. I'm going to learn. I'm going to research, and I think that's great advice too of a type of journey you are that you're doing, that you're in and pursuing, of learning, even if it's something that might make you uncomfortable or you don't really know about, but you're willing to learn and put in the research. I think that just shows your perseverance and all those things too. So that's a lot of things that you're learning. And you said it might be producing, it could be you said internship, and I mean you went, like you said, ESPN, TNT Sports. That's a great journey in itself. That's a story in itself. You know?
I mean, I just always operate like I would say this past year, even before then, I've been operating with the mindset of like just to say yes to every opportunity, because you never know like where it'll lead you down the line or how it'll help you down the line. Because I never would have thought that me taking that internship at ESPN would have led me to meeting people at TNT, which would have led me to my fellowship that I did. Which I didn't even realize at the time that I got the fellowship how big of a deal it was. Like I never would have known. Like, but I just kind of put myself out of my comfort zone and just kind of said yes to opportunities and stuff like that. So
yeah, of course, yeah, for sure. And like I said, that's for someone to learn that's trying to get into this business or anything like that. I think that's a great way to they can look to that and say, hey, I love what Courtney's doing, and I can resonate and try to have their own path, but can look to you and say, hey, she's doing it, I can do that too. And you say, I'm gonna say yes to. I've heard that, and opportunities, they come and go in this sports broadcasting and podcasting, all that. Opportunities come and go, and you have to really say, I'm gonna learn how to do it. And I saw last week you had put something on LinkedIn about stepping out of your comfort zone and join the Columbia Fireflies, single A affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. And again, you said as part of the broadcast team, you said baseball is another new territory for you. So you're learning on that too. And talk about that. You said you embrace the challenges, which I really like the post that you said. Talk about that. Just saying, stepping out of your comfort zone. You said the last year, you say I stepped out of my comfort zone and I did a lot of these things that I'm not comfortable with, but you stepped into, they said, unfamiliar spaces, and you just say, hey, Google, and you Google, YouTube, and just learning is a great tool to have.
Yeah, a little bit of Google searches.
Yeah.
The Fireflies baseball is definitely a new territory for me. I mean, I like baseball. I casually watch it, but I'm not somebody that's going to tell you like how many RBIs or ERAs somebody has.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to give you the in and out of that. But this was just something that I just like, they saw me on NBA All-Star Weekend and they were like, hey, like we saw you. You're in Columbia. We want to utilize your talents. How do you feel about broadcasting for minor league? baseball. And I was like, okay, that's not, was I uncomfortable? I'm still very uncomfortable. It's just something you have to be uncomfortable to grow. Like if you're not uncomfortable,
Yes.
you're not growing. And so I just, been leaning on my resources. I mean, I just went back home because I'm like 15 minutes away from like my home, which is Irmo. I went back home so that my dad could help me learn like about the different pitches and stuff because he used to
Yeah.
play baseball and he
Okay.
knows baseball. So
Right.
why not
Good
utilize
resource.
somebody?
Good
Right.
resource to have. The best resource to have, I should say.
Exactly. Why not utilize somebody that knows the game? So I
Yeah.
went back home so he could explain to me about pitches so I can maybe talk about like different pitches and why a pitcher decided to throw a slider versus a fastball on this and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you learned, like you said, you took the opportunity, you got an opportunity. Let's just say you said yes, and you said develop, as you said, develop, learn, and thrive, and that's what it is. And networking, that's uh, talk about how important that is. You did discuss it of how you said you were able to network, and network is super important, and in something like and broadcasting like this and journalism.
Yeah. I think networking is super important, but I also I don't like the term networking just sounds so transactional to me that I kind of like to use the word like developing relationships.
Okay, yep.
Um because like you can network with somebody, but like to me networking with somebody, because most people like if you network with somebody, they reach out to you, they want advice, and then you never hear
Yeah.
from them again.
Never again. Yeah. Yep.
So to me, I like to as I would say, cultivate relationships. Just because, like I said, I like to connect with people. I like to hear people's stories.
Yeah.
That's just me as a person. That just does not. That's not just Courtney, like the journalist. That's me as a person.
Yeah.
And so just in this industry, I feel like networking is definitely like 100%. Like, because when I was at ESPN, like you would think like, okay, it's ESPN, but half the people at ESPN came from TNT or vice versa. Like they've all been in like the same spaces. And the more
Mhm.
exposed I get to the sports industry, the more I realize it's big, but it's small. Like
Mm.
everybody knows
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Because like when I was doing my fellowship, I ran into the same people at All Star Weekend that I met when I was an intern at ESPN.
Yeah.
Like I ran into the same people, but and we remembered each other because like I like developed like a relationship with them. Like I still kind of like kept in touch with them, even though my internship was long gone. Like I still keep in touch with my supervisors from ESPN and stuff, and I've sent them like things that I've been doing. Like, hey, just wanted to send y'all that I got this opportunity and I'm doing this, and then but not also just sending them stuff, but also like just casually checking in and just
Yeah.
like, hey, like just wanted to see how you're doing. Like not
Yep.
always like, oh, I wanted to show you this, but like just also checking in with people and being like, oh, I thought about you today. Just wanted to see what you're up to. How's it going in your neck of the woods? Is how
Hmm.
it says.
Yeah. Real relationships. No, that's so true. Like, and it's hard to find those type of relationships. You said networking. Yeah, we can go to like a networking seminar and you network with people, and then you just for that weekend or that day, and then that's it. Or you said you're helping out someone. Somebody, oh, a job came up. Oh, this is something I can maybe something that might fit you, and just like that relationship. I think that's way more important, I think, than network is great, but you said if you check in on someone weeks later and you say, hey, I was just checking in, and find that real conversations, I think it goes much more a long way.
It's not even like you always like you have to text them all the time.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's like every once in a while. Like it's like I look at it as like a give and take like relationship,
Yes.
Like if I'm networking with like a couple of like the on-air personalities that I networked with at ESPN. I mean they're way up there, but like just because I have their contact information, I have their email and stuff, every once in a while I'm like, hey, like I was thinking about you. How are you?
Right.
Hey, guess
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm doing? Like it's not always like, oh, look what I'm doing. Can I get a job? Like,
Yeah. Right.
give me a
Yeah.
job. It's just I really enjoy just building like friendships. Like
Yeah,
I
friendship.
don't know. I really just enjoy building friendships and connecting with people.
Yeah, that's important, because it's a competitive field, and everyone's trying to get be better and get over other people. Sometimes you do see that, but you're right, it's like genuine relationships and just reaching out. And because I'll tell you this, like, you've been on this show, this is the first time. I will reach out again. I do my best to reach out again and just maybe just check in and say, hey, you want to just let's catch on another podcast if you got if you got the time. I'm really about that and really connecting. And I love seeing you said you graduate next week, and I'll say, hey, congratulations, and all those things. Maybe just maybe check in with you a couple months, say, hey, how's things are going, and hopefully everything is going well. And I will, yeah. So you will get a message from me again for sure. You would definitely will in the next few months or so. So be on the lookout for that. So, but I like that, I really do. So I just got a couple more before I let you go. I mean, you're really enjoying this conversation as well. Future of journalism and storytelling. There's been a lot of talk about that. What's with jobs, and there's lack of it, and I'm sure you see it as well. But what do you think? What do you feel like is the future of journalism, storytelling, long form storytelling? It's still here. I know a lot of people love the reels and the shorts and all those things. But in your eyes, being in it, what do you think of the future of journalism, storytelling, and broadcasting?
I think you just hit on it. I really do think it's like social media, like little like
Mm,
shorts and reels and like more
yeah.
that content creating
Right.
type of thing,
Right.
like TikTok content creating type of thing. Because I was scrolling on TikTok like last week and a couple of days ago and stuff like that, and people were doing like I saw NFL draft for the girlies. Like a lady was
Yeah.
explaining like in like a little 2 minute TikTok video or 1 minute 30-second TikTok video, just points on like the NFL draft for like maybe like not the average sports fan
Mm,
for
yeah.
somebody to understand. And I just think things like that's where it's going. Like just something quick, easy, but also entertaining.
Yeah.
um, and stuff that you can do on the go, not necessarily like a whole linear talking head like ESPN talk show or NBA TV's talk show, stuff like that. Just something quick, easy that people can watch on their phone on the go and be entertained. Because to be honest, the attention span is very, very short,
Yeah. Very short nowadays. Yes.
very, very short. And
Yeah.
so
Yep.
if you don't get people's attention in like, I would say 2 seconds, you lost.
Yes.
Like, and
Yeah.
most of the time, like people have on I'm guilty of it. I have on like ESPN or something like just in the background, like it's background noise. I'm
Background
listening to it,
noise.
I'm
Yeah.
watching it. And so I just think now it's going to be more content creation because more people are spending time on social media. You see all like these like podcasts and social media talk shows and YouTube shows popping up. Um, and so I just think that's where it's going, just because that's what people are leaning towards, more of that social media um, entertainment aspect,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. You're right. I think it is going to that. It's been going to that, and it's more and more. Like I said, TikTok and um, Twitter, whatever, wherever else, Instagram. The reels are they get the most they get the most clicks, or they get the most viewerships and things like that. And I do miss, and I know where it's like things are going, and I see it and everything too, and being part of that too. But I do miss those long form. They're still there in those long form conversations, and but there's something for everyone when it
Yeah,
comes to that. There's the ones that said that 30-second clip. That's all you might have time for at the time. But if you want that long form conversation, you go to something that has a half hour or whatever it is. So I agree 100% on that. All right, last one. I want to talk about the growth of women's sports, growth of women in broadcasting and podcasting, the growth of that. Talk about that and being part of that as well, of how much it has grown just over the last year or two.
yeah. I think it's grown a lot. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
at the University of South Carolina, where I
Yeah.
like that's like the epitome of women's sports growth. When it
Hmm.
talk about our women's basketball team, like I tell people
Yes.
all the time, I remember because this was when I was growing up. Me and my dad and my sister would come to the games. We would get there. Well, my dad liked to be there like 2 hours before tip off. We would get there like late or so. I'm like 6, my sister's like 5, 4, and we would sit courtside because everything was general admission. There was like nobody there. We would go on the court at halftime and do the chicken dance with Cocky. Can't do that no more. General admission is all the way at the top.
Yep.
And the lower bowl is all season ticket holders, and then you can't even go on the court anymore. So like that's just the growth of just what Dawn Staley's done at USC, regardless, is just amazing. But then also just seeing how much people pay attention to, like, I would say March Madness in general this year. Like most of the people that I talk to, they could tell me more about the women's side of March Madness than the men's side. Who was playing in the men's side. I was like, didn't even know who was in the game in the men's side, but they knew all about what was going on in the women's Final Four and stuff like that. And I just think that shows like that just shows the growth. And then WNBA picking up, of course, WNBA season right around the corner.
Yes.
A lot of people now watching the WNBA draft and now getting excited for the season and stuff like that. And then also you asked about women's like broadcasters. I see a lot more women, and especially African-American women, on the sidelines during games like Saturday, like Monday Night Football, like NBA, basketball, like college basketball, stuff like that. Like I feel very grateful to, I would say, be coming up in a time where I would say there's a demand for women in sports now, because now it's a thing. Like now people want to see a woman on the sideline. They want to see a woman in sports. I hear a lot about people like watching like the Holly Rose and the Taylor Rooks and stuff more than like the men's sports broadcasters. Not saying that they're not doing a good job, but like you see a lot of like the women's sport, like you see Taylor Rooks doing all types of interviews with NBA players and stuff like that. And a lot of people tune in to watch that, and they love what her questions and stuff like that. Holly Rowe, I was working overtime. I saw her doing a basketball game. Then the next day I saw her in Colorado doing the spring game. I said, God darn, she everywhere.
She everywhere. High roads everywhere. Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to be coming up in a time where I see a lot of women on the side that I can look up to, like Andrea Carter, Elle Duncan, Shanae Obumbuke, like
the big three. Yes,
exactly. Like doing, as I say, doing the darn thing for real.
Doing it. Yes, they
kind of giving me that motivation to say, like, I can get there one day. I can occupy these spaces like them and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and I mean those names that you said, the big three, and Taylor Rooks and Holly Rowe, and I mean the list goes on and on and on. Maria Taylor, so many. Lisa Salters, Lisa Salters, NBA, NFL, she does it, does it all too, and so much. And then it's great to see the growth of it, and everywhere you turn, and I love it. And I always talked about this podcast. I've been doing this podcast for almost 10 years now, 9 years, and big advocate of been big advocate of women in sports and journalism and broadcasting, things like that. And it was just to see where it's become and where it's going, because it's not going anywhere. I always say, and when you have investment and people watching, and it's always been there. Now it's just the growth has grown so much. And I'm glad that the incredible women are just kick that door down, and really have pushed that door open for sure. And just to have that, just have them winning so much, is I love seeing it. So, and you're a part of that too. So I look forward to seeing your growth.
I'm trying.
No, I know. I love seeing. I know. Gonna love seeing your growth and seeing where you're gonna be going and everything too. So I was gonna say, what's next for Courtney Hollmon? What would you like to see yourself doing in the next even just 6 months or so?
The real question. What's next? I've told people the same thing. I've told like everybody. I'm just going wherever the wind takes me, wherever the wind blows. I mean, right now I'm doing the Fireflies thing. And that's like, like minor league is during the summer. and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So right now I'm doing that, also juggling some stuff in between that, but just wherever the wind takes me, wherever doors God blesses me with, whatever
Yep.
doors God opens, um, I walk through and have full trust in Him because He knows all before I even do it.
Yeah.
So,
Amen to that.
um,
For sure. Yes.
so just put my faith and my trust in God and knowing that what's for me is for me, and He wouldn't put me in any situation that He knows I wouldn't thrive in, I wouldn't be successful, and so just going with the flow with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you said, let God just do his work, and he will bless you with whatever opportunities comes up, and I'm sure you're gonna be like, yes, I'm here. I'm doing it. You just say it's not gonna put you in any situation where you can't handle or anything like that. So, but Courtney, this has been a pleasure, getting to know you a little bit and your journey, and really appreciate the time for sure. And again, many blessings to you, and congratulations on the graduation. I know you guys have some fun. Literally, are you taking a little bit of a break after you graduate? I know you got the minor league baseball team, but you guys just continue to keep working, continue to keep doing
Nah,
your thing, right?
I can't sit still. I'm
Okay.
not about taking breaks. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you enjoy the graduation at least. Enjoy that little bit of time, and then they said back to work after that. So, but I really appreciate you jumping on. Let everyone know where they can follow you, and maybe ask you some questions if they have something they want to pick your brain with, or just follow your journey. I'll let everyone know they can follow you on social media.
Yeah. I guess if y'all want to keep up with what little old me is doing, you can follow me on Instagram at Courtney with 3 Y's .Renee RENEE. So yeah.
All right, that's the best place to catch up. I'm glad we connected. I'm glad I know we said network, but we'll say we won't say network. We did
Conversate.
conversate.
Fellowship.
Yeah, we fellowshipped. Yes, we fellowshipped and everything too. But I'm glad we got a chance to really connect on that front too, and hopefully we can do this again real soon.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you. I really appreciate it too, and so excited. Congratulations on your graduation, and we'll do this again. All
Yes, sir.
all right. You have a good rest of the week, and talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. You
All
too.
right. Thanks.